Well, I'm pretty excited to cook with this lady. Brittany Bardeleben definitely knows her way around chocolate and cookies. Head chef of Hotcakes Molten Chocolate Cakery. And she's recently created a delicious recipe using one of Zoya's favorite cookies.
Yeah.
The Exploremores. Here we are. How do we get started? What are we making?
So the first thing we're gonna do is our chocolate cookie crust. So what I did was took all those Exploremores and broke them down in the food processor until they're crumbs like this.
Okay.
And then we're gonna take some melted butter.
Yes.
And just mix that right into it until it all clumps together. And that takes like no time. This is pretty much the easiest part of this recipe.
If you don't have a food processor too, is it possible, Brittany, to do this without?
It's absolutely possible. You're gonna put these in a Ziploc bag and grab a rolling pin or a can or something and just take your aggressions out on it.
And just go to town.
Just beat the daylights out of it until it just kind of clumps together like that.
Yeah.
And then what we're gonna do is just press it into a pie pan and then just bake it for about 20 minutes until it's firm to the touch.
Go
to town.
Okay, here we go.
So you're gonna bake that until it's firm to the crust, or firm to the touch, and then just set it in the freezer, set it anywhere out of the way while you get to work on the other components.
Perfect.
So we'll just pretend we did that. We've got a finished one here. So that's what we're going for right there.
Yeah, that kind of consistency.
That already is so delicious. And then we're gonna work on our pudding real quick. So in here I've got some cocoa powder, some sugar, and some cornstarch, and a little salt. I'm gonna add some eggs.
And did this idea and recipe come to you when you first tasted the Exploremores?
Pretty much immediately. And
Really?
I've been working with the Girl Scouts for a long time, and this is the first time that they've presented me with a challenge, and I had no problem out the gate knowing exactly what I wanted to do. These are a Rocky Road inspired flavor, and I knew I wanted to lean right into that Rocky Road flavor profile, and I obviously knew they're basically like an Oreo with a chocolate filling, and so of course I'm going to make a
decadent dessert.
Exactly. I'm going to make a cookie crust out of it. That's like kind of the best thing Oreos are for.
Absolutely. So what are you doing here? How hot does this have to be, and what did you put in?
I added some milk and some egg yolks, and so it just looks basically like this chocolatey liquid. And we're gonna bring this.
Yeah, it almost looks like chocolate milk.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're gonna bring this to a boil here.
Okay, perfect.
Is this thing on here? And basically what it's gonna do is it's gonna start to bubble and thicken. And once it comes to a boil, you're gonna actually wanna set a timer for 90 seconds and sit there and cook it for 90 seconds while it bubbles away. That's something you can't really cheat on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've actually seen some people try and cheat on that, and then they have a soupy pie. So this is the one thing I'm adamant about. Make sure it cooks for 90 seconds. And then what we're gonna do is add in some of these chocolate chips just to make that flavor a little bit more rich.
Definitely.
And then we'll take that off the heat.
Yes.
And I've got some that's already finished here.
Oh,
You'll
look
take
at
it off
that.
the heat and just sort of let it sit while you work on the other components. But isn't that gorgeous?
That is gorgeous. That looks like a mousse, almost like chocolate mousse consistency
it's also
there.
like the best chocolate pudding you've ever had. It's so good.
Okay, wait, I have to just...
Yeah, just give it a little taste
I just have to give it a little taste as we go. And while I'm doing that, what's in there?
So I've got some smoked almonds. We make smoked chocolate chips. While we were doing that, I threw in a tray of almonds just because I wanted to sort of nod to that campfire thing with the Girl Scouts, just add a little smoky flavor, and then some mini marshmallows.
What a good idea.
Yeah. And then I've got some of our dry burned caramel sauce.
Can people purchase this too at all your locations?
Absolutely, all of our locations and our website as well.
Oh, amazing. And the Girl Scouts have a real special place in your heart.
They do.
Were you a Girl Scout?
I wasn't. I actually didn't start working with the Girl Scouts until about 10 years ago. I was a campfire girl. Very similar. We're all friends.
We are.
But I started working with them just because they reached out to me to start creating recipes with their cookies. And I just fell in love with the program. It's just such a positive thing for girls. And I've been working with them ever since. I look forward to it every year.
That's
and
pretty amazing.
They almost always have a new cookie, and it's so fun to challenge myself and come up with something cool with it.
Do you have a cookie year over year that you keep going back to, and it's your absolute favorite.
Yes, I'm a Thin Mint girl.
Thin
and I
Mint.
usually, my thing is I buy a dozen Thin Mints at the start of cookie season and one box of Samoas. The Thin Mints, my son has a dairy allergy, and the Thin Mints are vegan. And so...
Oh, I didn't even know that they were vegan.
Yeah, they're vegan. So I'll buy a dozen of those and keep them in my freezer all year long. And then the Samoas are for me to hoard away.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can see this created this like thick... bound together caramely, almondy, marshmallowy.
It smells so
Doesn't
good with
look
that
great?
caramel. Wow.
So we're just gonna sort of press this into the bottom of the pie. And if you can, once you've done that, if you can stick it in the freezer for, I don't know, 30 minutes, even better. If not, no worries.
Why do you want to put it in the freezer?
Just because you want all the components to be cold. Just when you're layering it on there, sometimes if this is still warm, see how you get that really distinct layer of rocky road? We don't want to mess with that. So if you can get it really cold, I'm always a component. Like everything should be cold if you can, especially when making a pie.
Amazing.
So then we've got this caramely rocky road layer here.
And then what?
And then goes the pudding. Now, this is a deep dish pie, as you can see. So if you make this, you're gonna want to use a deep dish pie. If your pie's a little bit smaller, no big deal, just reserve that extra filling.
For yourself. That was so
good. Exactly.
That looks like art. You are a magician.
Isn't that
wow. Gorgeous.
There's that layer.
Okay, and how long does that cook for then?
That cooks, it doesn't bake, that's it. That is the pudding is fully cooked on the stove. So you don't really need to do anything other than chill it.
Even easier.
Even easier.
Okay, and then what's next over here?
So then I took some of this dry burned caramel and some heavy cream, and I'm just gonna whip it until it's thick. And we're gonna top our pie. And it's gonna be,
how long are you looking for with the consistency?
It kind of depends on the power of your mixer. You can do this by hand as well. You're gonna wanna engage your arm strength, of course.
True.
But this maybe takes 3 minutes, again, depending on how heavy duty your mixer motor is. And I think we're just about there.
Okay, and then where are we layering all this on the top here?
Yep, I'm just gonna fill a piping bag here.
Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna taste the finished product. So you put that on, that's why it looks so beautiful on top, because it's the piping.
It's the piping, and you don't have to pipe it if you're like, I just want to get it on there.
Just
no worries,
do what you're gonna do.
Scrape it right on there.
Oh, my Lord. Brittany. This is my new birthday
stuff, right?
This is good stuff.
Honestly, this might be my favorite thing I've ever made with the Girl Scout cookies.
I thought you were going to say in life. I was like, I get it. I completely understand.
I've been doing this a long time.
Okay, we're going to watch a little of you doing this before we... Oh.
So we're just going to do some swirly dingles here.
Look at that. Art. Art, art, art. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Brittany. This was an absolute blast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Please leave that for
me.
Girl Scout Cookie Booth sales will be going through Sunday, March 15th. It's the final week, people. Get those cookies. And thanks for spending time with us today. For more New Day fun, subscribe on YouTube and be sure to download King 5 Plus for free. Don't forget to enjoy your new day, and we'll see you next time.